Hi, it's Ewan Ellery here making bonsai in Australia, and in this video I'm going to be doing a bit of a repotting on these three bonsai. So all of these I've had in these pots for ranging between 2 to 3 years now, which is quite a long period of time. This one which I did maybe about 2.5 years ago now, and this kind of soil just doesn't really seem to work very well for ficuses. They seem to prefer much more of an organic soil. So I'm going to be doing that with all three of these today, putting them in more organic soil. Yeah, really don't want to be pruning much on this one here. Really just doing a bit of a sleeve repotting to get it a bit more vigorous. So I'm going to start with this one and we'll get to these ones next. So first things first, we're going to be taking out of the pot. I do have quite a significantly larger pot that I'm going to be putting into today. The base on this is really quite thick. So given that, technically you normally kind of go for a bonsai pot which is about as deep as the trunk is wide. This is actually quite appropriate, so I'm going to be taking it out. So yeah, quite matted down the bottom. There's probably a little bit more room up the top, but yeah, going to need to I'm going to rake that away a little bit just to see what roots I can kind of expose. Now before I do go further, you can see here there's a root that's growing. Well, I'm not sure how well you can see, but there's a root that's growing all the way along here, which is not radial whatsoever. So I will be cutting that one off. I don't think there were many feeder roots on that one anyway, so it's not too much of a problem. And that then means I can then rake away a bit more of this. And there's a root there that's kind of just hit the edge of the pot and then come around, but it doesn't have very many feeders off it, so I'll be cutting that one back. So yeah, that's about the surface root structure that I'm going to be working with there, and I'll just rake away where all of these, or rake out rather, where all of the just matted root place is, just so that it will grow a bit more naturally into the new soil when I put it in. So that'll about do it there. Now there are a few of these really wild long roots that just prune back ever so slightly. So with this, this is really well draining soil. I'll just re-put this back on the bottom of this pot, just as drainage layer, and then I'll be putting more organic soil higher up. And mounding up a little bit of more organic soil in the center, which I can then put this down on. So I'll leave that as the front. I can always kind of change it a little bit in the future. I'm not going to be doing realistically any pruning on all of this. I'm just going to let that grow. So position that in the front. Just sink it a little bit further down in the pot, just so I can cover up some of those roots. And now put in the soil. So yeah, the previous pot that this was in was really not ideal in the sense of it was a bit too confined width-wise, so a lot of these big roots were really kind of jam-packed up to the edge, so this will allow them to grow out a lot more radially. Right, so that's about good there. I will put a bit of bonsai soil on the top, just so it looks a little bit nicer. So I'm just going to put this aside, give it a brief water, and I'll move on to the next ones. Alright, so this one here, just going to take it out. Yeah, so really similar kind of scenario with this one. So yeah, it's getting quite a nice radial root spread there, but incredibly matted at the bottom of the root base. Now I'm a bit undecided with this one as to whether I'll be putting it back into this pot. It's not that large, so it definitely doesn't need a bigger pot. And there should be enough putting back in this pot for me to kind of sleeve prune it a little, and it should let it grow. Give it a sufficient amount of extra room for it to grow if I raise it up a little bit higher, which will serve two purposes in that it will let me expose some of that root base as well. So we'll give that a go. Again, I'll put just a little tiny bit of rocks in the very bottom, just again for more drainage, and then top that up with a bit of an organic mix. Now ideally I would be covering some of those roots a little, so yeah, might need to a little bit less soil in the bottom, pack that in there nice and firmly, and that should then mean I can put just a thin layer of soil on the edge of some of those roots. Just enough to cover some of the tops ever so faintly. Leave a lot of the kind of interlaced root work in the center there, where you can kind of see it on the trunks. Might also do just a little bit of wiring, as I'd kind of like to have a couple of the trunks kind of splayed out just a little bit further than they currently are. So here's one piece, and wire it to 2 trunks instead of 2 branches. So that will then just mean that I can put a couple of these trunks, just lead them out a little bit further from the rest of the clump, as yeah, there's a lot of these trunks in here that are kind of concealing the view from the rest of them, so it just opens it up a little bit more. Now there's a bunch of trunks in the center there that are kind of, you know, on top of each other a little bit, concealing a little bit of view, so there's a couple more I might move out slightly, especially as I want to I'm going to try and put them into the best possible position before they get too thick and it becomes way harder. So I shouldn't have to bend to wire, sorry, all of these, just a few. Can open it up a little bit, especially as if they get much thicker, some of them you won't be able to see the trunks at all past some of the others, so yeah, really want to kind of open it up early. So this one here, lift it up a little bit more, and this one here, so where you can see there's those 3 trunks in the front there. This one at the back I could move out somewhere, but I'll leave it for now. But this one, definitely want to move this one just to occupy this unused space here. Because I'm repotting it, I will just do a little bit of pruning. So there's a branch here which is coming out. I don't need that because I've got this trunk there. So prune that off. Kind of similar with that little tiny branch. So yeah, really kind of get rid of branches where they're moving into places where I've kind of already got other trunks, so it's just kind of crowding everything out a little bit too much. Now it's already pretty well in, you know, pretty good kind of profile, but I will prune it back a little bit more into profile, just because. Actually, maybe a little bit, I will prune it back a little bit more, just because I don't want it growing too leggy. Alright, so yeah, that should about do it for now. So yeah, really just kind of hoping that that'll grow out a lot more vigorous. A little bit more soil, which should be enough, and I'm not really planning on this to get too insane. I really want to keep it a small bonsai. So yeah, put a little bit of water in this as well, just as the soil is quite dry, and then I'll move on to the next, and yeah, obviously I'll be doing much more significant water with all of them before I put them in the yard. And then on to the last one that I'll be working on today, which is this azalea. This azalea has been in this for, it's actually been in here probably going on close to 3 years now off the top of my head. Originally, yeah, kind of there was a period where it hadn't really been growing too well. I thought it might have died. So yeah, I've kept it in its pot a lot longer than realistically would have otherwise. But that's predominantly because I wanted it to get a bit more health before I shifted it out now. I really just need to repot it now to have a bit more room to grow. Breaking away some of this topsoil. This soil I've found is not seemingly the best for azaleas. They seem to, or at least the ones I've been growing, seem to prefer a lot more of an organic mix as well. So I'll be changing the soil for this. So just trying to clean up the trunk there. And a lot of the azaleas that I was working with a few years ago, I was pruning them back really significantly to develop good nabari and kind of taper in the trunks, which was a little bit possibly too significant for some of them. Did lose a couple of them, but as you can see with this and how well this is kind of developed, it's paid off quite well in terms of the good taper you can see in this trunk. So it's really only meant to be a bit of a sleeve repotting on this. There's a few roots that are kind of just trimming back a little bit, but that's all I'm going to do in terms of root pruning. I might prune back a few of the branches, but put it down for now, find a different pot. It's not much larger, it's only a little bit larger, but I'll put it in this white pot. So just getting this in all the air holes, and then I'll probably again put a bit more bonsai soil on top again, just as a bit of a finisher. So I'll be going with that as the front, just because there's a lot more kind of character in the root base there, and the trunk kind of moves towards you, which is kind of the intent for the front of a tree. Now as it is, look, there's not a lot of branching, and it's quite well in profile already, so I'll kind of keep that as is. I will prune back probably just this one little bit that's a little bit out of profile, maybe just this one here as well. So really leaving quite a lot there, just as it's struggled a little bit in the past. I haven't taken off much root structure at all, so it should stay nice and healthy, and I want to leave as many leaves as I can if the roots are getting enough energy for them, so they can photosynthesize and hopefully grow a fair bit more in the coming months. Here are my finished products. So quite happy with all of these really. So hopefully get a lot more vigor in them now that I've kind of kept a lot of that root structure, kept a decent amount of foliage. We'll ignore that one for that comment. And a lot more room for the roots to grow, so hopefully get a lot more vigor in these in the future. So look, I hope you've enjoyed this video or taken something from it. If you have, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that little bell symbol so that you're notified with my videos as I release it. And look, thanks for your time today. Enjoy. Bye.